Hello everyone and welcome to one of the first games that finished from round 2 of this year's Tata Steel Masters edition. It is Nodirbek Abdusattorov versus last year's winner of the Challenger section, Leon Luke Mendonca, 18-year-old Indian Grandmaster who has been playing incredible chess throughout the years, as we have featured him on the channel quite a few times already, but I believe his greatest achievement so far is winning the Tata Steel Challengers. And when you win the Challengers, you qualify for the Masters, and then you make your debut, and he certainly did make his debut. Yesterday he played an incredible game against Vincent Keymer, outplayed him completely, and I will show it once again as I've shown it in the previous video, but maybe some of you haven't seen it. This was the position. Leon had the white pieces here, and he continued in the best possible way. Found this queen to c5 move. Vincent countered with rook to g6, and well, the result is as it is, but there was this incredibly tricky line where you have to capture the pawn. King goes to g8 and then bishop to d4 is the only winning move for white, or maybe it's not even winning, maybe it's possible to hold, but it would be extremely difficult. Yeah, I mean, it was a disgusting engine line to find with 2.5 minutes on the clock, but he played rook to c1 and he completely missed Vincent's queen captures on h3, and here he immediately resigned as there is no point in continuing the game. Now rook captures on g2, and that's pretty much it. There's nothing to look for here. There's no counter, no queen captures on h5 no longer exists. It's pointless to even try to resist this. So that is what happened in round 1. Very unfortunate for Leon Luke, but now he gets a chance, albeit with the black pieces, against well, we could say an opponent of at least equal skill to Vincent's, if not greater. So let's check it out. Nodirbek with white opens with pawn to e4. We have pawn to e6, countering the e4 with the French. d4, we have pawn to d5 and pawn to e5, going for the advanced variation of the French, pawn to c5 and pawn to c3. Okay, we have knight to c6, knight to f3, and queen to b6. This is the Paulsen attack, countered by queen to b6, as this is the main way to counter the Paulsen. And the top move here is pawn to a3. It's a pretty standard way. You're controlling b4, and basically by playing a3, you're fighting for the center, because if black simply trades pawns here, then you're gonna have already a setup on the queen side to execute pawn to b4. Other moves, maybe bishop to e2, bishop to d3, are also popular, but here Nodirbek played pawn to a4, and this is since he's giving up the center, well, not giving up the center, but he's allowing the trade. Usually a3 is met with pawn to c4, but now we're playing pawn to a4, you are no longer fighting for b4, and that means Leon can just trade on d4, which is exactly what he does. He spent some 9 minutes on this move because it is extremely rare. By playing a4, you are basically avoiding all known theory. There are only there are no top-level games with this pawn to a4 idea. So that's why probably already on move 6, Leon invests 9 minutes. We have c captures on d4, and now knight to h6. In terms of how good it actually is, probably white just gives up all of the advantage that white starts with. But on the other hand, the element of surprise is enough for Nodirbek to consider this an advantage, let's call it that way. And now, like I said, if the pawn was on a3, and this is a line that can be played with the pawn on a3 line, now you would immediately play pawn to b4. But now pawn to b4 is impossible, so bishop to b5 by Nodirbek, and now knight to f5. A beautiful square for the knight, but you always have to watch out for pawn to g4. Maybe it doesn't work this move, but you will have to consider it every move that you play. And there is a game where castles was played long time ago, 22 years ago. It was played in a game Daniel Chavez Medina versus Alexandra Aguilera Quizitke that ended with black winning. But here we have knight to c3, and it is now as of move 9 that we have a completely new game. So okay, bishop to d7, nicely continuing development. We have castles and pawn to a6, challenging Nodirbek's bishop, and Nodirbek just trades. Bishop captures on c6. We have bishop captures, and now knight to e2, adding a defender to d4, and I mean, giving up the light square bishop against the French. I mean, that's basically the anti-French bishop. Obviously, this is a very well-prepared line by Nodirbek. Queen to e7, and now pawn to b3. we have castles queenside. Now, probably rook c8 and just leaving the king in the center of the board, or maybe castling kingside at some point during the game would be a safer way to play. But Leon, well, not discouraged by losing the first game. He castles queenside, and now we have castles on opposite sides. We know what kind of a game it's going to be. We have bishop to d2 by Nodirbek, now preparing pawn to b4, or maybe even rook to b1, pawn b4, or maybe even just pawn b4, since this looks very unlikely, and then b5, and he busts open black's defenses completely. So king to b8, and now pawn to b4, and the Nodirbek is indeed correct. If bishop captures, do you see how white wins here? It's not rook b1. If rook b1, you can defend with a5. It's actually a5 by white. And now, okay, you cannot capture the a5 square is defended. Sorry, it is defended twice by the bishop and by the rook. But what else can you do? If you want to defend the bishop, you have to play queen b5, and now rook b1. There is no more way for you to defend that bishop on b4. So that's why after b4, rook to c8, and now rook to b1. Nodirbek ready to bust open the position with b5. Bishop to d7, and now pawn to b5. So Nodirbek saying, okay, castling queenside was bold, but you know, I appreciate the full point here. A captures on b5. The only way to stop the attack would be a5, but it looks very weird. It is possible though, with bishop to d8, you can maybe hold, move the queen, maybe even play pawn to b6, but it would be hard. But then again, it is your best option. However, after b5, a captures on b5 was played. A captures and the rook to c4 by Leon, and now Nodirbek plays queen to b3. Again, it's unclear why Nodirbek dislikes g4. It either forces Leon to sacrifice the exchange, or even if you go knight to h6, you can just defend with pawn to h3, and that knight is completely out of the game. So throwing in a g4 here makes sense, but also queen b3 extremely strong by Nodirbek. g5, Leon now looks for his chances on the king side. h3 and pawn to h5, now preparing g4, so bishop captures on g5, and while rook to g8 is something, you will simply capture, and the rook on g8 is not prepared to, you know, start any sort of attack, and it's questionable how useful the bishop on d7 is. How are you getting well, the other pieces into the attack? If anyone is attacking here, it is most certainly Nodirbek. So rook to b4, we have queen to a2, and now rook captures on b5, and now knight to g3. Again, making it very, very unfavorable for Leon, because what can he play? For example, knight captures on g3, although it looks very nice, you're not going to play f captures on g3, you're going to play bishop captures on e7. And now when the knight moves, you're going to go rook to a1, and this is just terrible. First, you're going to deal with the knight, you're going to get the rook to c1, queen is coming. I mean, that's a game over. So after knight to g3, bishop captures on g5 is played, knight captures on f5, e captures, and now knight captures on g5. And there are simply too many threats here. The threat of queen a8, winning the rook, the threat of knight f7, impossible to stop all of them. There's just no way to do it. Even rook c8, the rook is undefended on c8, and you can just pick it up. So here, queen captures on d4 is played. It comes, well, sort of with an idea of inviting queen to a8 with check, and then, sorry, not queen to a8 with check, of inviting knight captures on f7. But Nodirbek says, no thank you. He just goes rook to a1, prepares queen to a8. See how in my mind I already thought the rook was on a1. That is well, that is weird. And now king to c7. Just that, again, not much you can do about this f7 pawn. You have to deal with the rook, as now queen to a8 is definitely a threat. King to c7 was played, and now knight captures on f7, attacking the rook, rook to g8, and knight to c6. It is winning for Nodirbek, but you have to play precise moves, and knight to d6 is as precise as it gets. He attacks the rook, and now the problem is, okay, this is attacked by the queen, but if you go rook c5, look at this, queen a7, attacks b7, and now after, let's say, bishop to c6, you will go rook f to b1, and now after the other rook defends the b pawn as well, you will just play knight captures on f5. You can't really move the queen away from the defense of the rook. What do you play? Like queen c3, e6, the e pawn is also incredible here. I mean, this is resigns time. And also there are some cool tricks, like if black tries to play, make this about the pass the d pawn, then there's even queen b6 with check, and now as the pawn covers d7, you can easily checkmate the black king with the knight. 97 check will also be checkmate. So very, very cool lines here. So after knight d6, we have rook to b4, and now queen to a5 with check. We have queen to b6, stopping the check, and now just queen captures on d5, defending everything, also attacking that rook on g8. We have rook to d8, and here Nodirbek simply played knight to c4, and he was in this position on move 31 that Leon-Luc Mendonca resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. The queen is hanging. Once you play something, let's say you offer a queen trade, all of a sudden queen to a5 check lands, the b6 square is covered by the knight. So you can play b6, then the rook hangs. If you play king to c8, of course, then first a nice check kicks the king away from the defense of the rook. You're going to pick up that rook. And, well, whatever you play, but I mean, rook c1 or whatever, and you just resign. Queen moves, so rook captures on c7 will be checkmate. So whatever you play. So it was a pretty cool game, but it seems that Nodirbek just shows his class here by playing pawn to a4, a move that seemingly does nothing, and not seemingly, it actually doesn't do anything. I mean, it does nothing, compared to what other moves do at top level chess, but throwing Leon out of his preparation, Nodirbek was able to win a game in some 30 moves, which is at this level absolutely incredible. So good start for Nodirbek, tough start for Leon-Luc Mendonca, losing that, I would say, winning game against Vincent in round 1 to that terrible blunder. I mean, I was watching it live. I saw how upset he was, and it was definitely a difficult moment. But he's young. You should not hold that against yourself. And I mean, you played against Nodirbek with the black pieces. There's not a player in the world who could hold it against him if you lose. Very much looking forward to what Leon does in the rest of the tournament. And as usual, I will be looking out for your suggestions, as they are always amazing. So that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, big congratulations to Nodirbek on playing original chess. As always, that is what we expect from him, and that is why I'm always more than happy to show a Nodirbek a game. I would like to thank Ryan Canus, Isaac Pinol Katadao, Evert Mulder, Simon Maxen, and Stand By You for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check two of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.